So we're going to be talking about how to teach the consonant LE syllable type. Now there are two parts to this syllable type. We're going to be going over part one because it is pretty extensive. So this lesson actually comes much later in the sequence. You actually teach this after you've taught several of the vowel teams. So by the time you teach this concept, and you're working with this syllables chart, the child should be very familiar with this syllable chart and should have a lot of practice tapping the syllables chart. So the consonant LE is at the bottom in this section. Before we start, before you even teach the consonant LE syllable, you want to make sure that the child or children that you're working with has had a lot of practice with reading and spelling two-syllable words with both open and closed syllables. So I put on these Post-it notes the pages that you can find lessons on how to divide syllables with open and closed syllables. If you have a training guide, they're found on pages 172 and 175. Or if you have a lessons book, which is the pink book, find them on pages 55 and 56. So I want to review this just in case you don't know the difference between an open and closed syllable. But this is important to know so you can pronounce the vowel correctly. And if you're pronouncing the vowel correctly, then you're reading the word correctly. So in an open syllable, the word is divided after the vowel. And when it's divided after the vowel makes a long sound. So in this word robot, we can see we divided it after the O, the vowel. So this first syllable says ro. The O makes the long sound because it's open. There's not a consonant closing it. Same with human. This word is divided after the vowel so that U makes the long sound. It's going to say either who or hue. In this case, hue for human. And in this word, tiger, the word is divided after the vowel again. So that vowel will say its long sound. Tie, tiger. So these are all open syllables because the vowel is open. There's no consonant closing it in. On this side, we have our closed syllables, and this is where the word is divided after the consonant. So when you divide it after the consonant, the vowel is closed in, and it makes a short sound. So in the word vanish, we divide the word after the N, that consonant, so that A is going to say A. It's going to say its short sound, van, vanish. In robin, we divide it after the consonant. That consonant closes in that vowel, so that O says its short sound, ah, rob, robin. And same for level. We divide it after the V. That consonant closes that vowel. That E makes its short sound, lev, level. So this is a very important skill that the kids need to know how to do so that they're able to read many of the words in this consonant LE lesson. So when you're ready to teach the consonant LE, you want to start with that chart. So this is just a section of the chart. You're going to tap the consonant LE squares on the syllables chart. So it's going to sound like this. B-L-E, bull. G-L-E, gull, D-L-E, dull, P-L-E, pull, F-L-E, full, Z-L-E, zol, T-L-E, tull, S-T-L-E, sol, C-L-E, cull, K-L-E, cull, C-K-L-E, cull. After you've tapped them, you want to instruct that the CLE, the consonant LE, is always the last syllable in a word. And we see that in this little section here to the left of those syllables. We see these examples. Candle. So the DLE is the second part of that word, the second syllable. Apple. We hear the pull is the second syllable. Bugle. Second syllable there. Then you're going to want to arm spell some words. Now, these are two-syllable words, and if you're familiar with arm spelling two-syllable words, you might remember that we pound each syllable, and then we arm spell each syllable separately on the arm. But when you're doing the consonant LE, you don't have to do the syllables separately because you have room on your arm to add that consonant LE at the end of your arm, wherever that lands. So sometimes it might land on the wrist, and sometimes it might land on the hand. So let's do a few examples here. I'm going to stop this share so you can actually see me a little bit better. But if we were to arm spell, let's arm spell the word candle. So I've got my arm here. And so we start at the shoulder and we break the sounds apart. So we go, I can't see my arm very well, k and dole. So dole is way over here on your hand, on this word, candle. Okay? So if we were to do the next word, which is cradle, we can start on our shoulder and we can go cur, a, dole. Oh, here it's on my wrist. It's on my wrist instead of on my hand. Cradle, cradle. Okay, the next word is, let's try dimple. So we start on our shoulder, pull. Okay, so the pull is all the way over on my hand on this one. Dimple, dimple. All right. How about bubble? Bull. So here it's on my wrist. Bubble. And finally, jungle. Jungle. Okay, again, it's on my wrist. So you have enough room to put this on, just do it on your arm once instead of dividing it into two syllables. So we arm spelled some words, and you can see how sometimes the consonant LE might be at your wrist, and sometimes it might be at your hand. So after you've done that several times, then you're ready to mark and read words on either a lesson page or on some game cards, or maybe you have a handwritten page of words. So this is one of the game pages, which follows the lesson page in your training companion guide. You could mark these if you don't want as many words. And then you have your lesson page here. Up at the top, you always have your teaching points. You want to let, we already told the children that this is always the last syllable in a word, and we did some arm spelling. There's a little piece in here that has to do with spelling. I'm going to talk about that at the very end. Consonants are doubled to maintain their short vowel sound. And then we already did the arm spelling part. We put the consonant LE on the wrist or the hand. We treat it as one sound. So that's a really nice box that you can use for when you're teaching. You can remember all those important parts. So now when you get to this page and you're looking at words with the consonant LE, one thing that you can do is maybe start with a small section. I see this small section here. And this section has to do with BLE bold. So let's search for the BLE bold and let's box those in. All right, here's BLE. I'm going to box it in. I might even say BLE bold just to reinforce that sound. I'm going to BLE bold. Here's another one, BLE bold. BLE bold. All right, so after I do a short section, now we're going to mark the rest of the word. So this is where knowing what an open syllable and a closed syllable is very important in how to read these words. So we already boxed that second syllable. That's syllable number 2. So that leaves us with our first syllable. We're going to read that first syllable. And when we read that first syllable, we pay attention to the vowel. There's our vowel. And there's an M after it. There's a consonant closing that vowel in. So that U says so I would read that as fumble, fumble. That's the word, fumble. Okay, we go to our next word. We do the same thing. We're going to mark the vowel on that first syllable, decide if it's open or closed. Oh, there's a B there. That B tells us that U says it's short sound. Bubble, bubble. And we keep going down that list. Here's the next one. Here's my vowel, A. Oh, now this one, the A is an open vowel. There's no consonant after that, so in that syllable afterwards. That A says A. So that word is stable, stable. And then the next word, we're going to mark our vowel. We have an A here. Oh, there's an R. I remember AR says R. We keep the AR together. That's a bossy R. So that is marble. So that's not open or closed. That's what we call an R-controlled syllable or a bossy R syllable. And you would just continue going down the list, boxing in the consonant LE, marking the vowel, and then reading the words. Over on this side, you have a few 3-syllable words, and you would do that the same way. Let's take a look at this long one here. We would box the goal, G-L-E, goal. And now I'm going to go through and mark my vowels. So now this is a longer word. I've got a vowel here, the E, and then I have another vowel here, the A. Consonant, consonant, and then I divide right between the consonants. Rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. That sounds like rectangle. So the child might say rectangle and think, oh, that sounds like rectangle. Or they might even just see that A and G in there because they've had that practice and they've read a lot of words with A and G, and they might just automatically say rectangle. Okay, so we see some words in here with the, bossy R's. We see some words here with vowel teams. If you haven't done any vowel teams, you might not want to do that word, depending on when you teach this. Important piece is the spelling piece. And this part up here, consonants are doubled to maintain the short vowel sound, is an important part for the spelling piece. This can get a little tricky. What you may want to do before you even start dictating words for spelling, you may want to do a word analysis. You might want to say to your child or group of kids, whoever you're working with, all right, there are some words in here that have double letters. Do you see the double letters or the double consonants in the middle of these words? Let's find them. Oh, bubble does. I don't know how you might want to put a star, a little check, whatever to mark them. Bubble has 2 B's. Oh, wiggle has 2 G's. Oh, saddle has 2 D's. These words have to have those double consonants. Let's start with bubble. Let's write it on our whiteboard. All right, let's box the B-L-E, just like we would if we were reading this word. Okay, B-L-E, bull. All right, let's read this word. All right, U says bubble. What would happen if we didn't have that B there? If we got rid of that B, what would that word say? Does it say bubble anymore? No, it doesn't. That U now is open syllable. That's an open syllable. And the U says ooh, and that says booble. I don't know what a booble is, but that's not bubble. So we need that B to keep this vowel short. We want to maintain the short vowel sound. So you might go through and just take a few of those words. All right, let's try it with wiggle. And just take some words, box the consonant LE, and then, okay, this says wiggle. What if I took that G out? What would it say? You have to say wiggle. Wiggle, that's not a word. I need that G to keep that I short, to say wiggle. And so you would do that a few times just so they are understanding that concept of why we double the letter in some words, but not all. So if we take a look at another word like fumble, and we're sounding it out, we've arm spelled it, and we're sounding it out, and we have bull. Okay, here if we box the LE and we read this first part, oh, the U says and the M is what makes that U say its short sound. There's already a consonant there to keep that vowel short. So we don't need to double that B because that M is already doing that job. Same with sample. We hear ample. Same thing. And that's why it helps to box that ending so that they can actually see that. It's a good way to, when they're spelling a word, to check their own work even. If they box their own and then check to see, oh, do I need to double this letter or not? Well, in this case, no, because that M tells that A to say sample. Now let's take a look at another word. How about stable? So I hear A, and then bull. All right, here's my BLE bull. This says stay. Because that vowel is not a short sound, it's a long sound. I don't need to double the B in that word because that's a long sound. We only do it in words that have a short syllable in the first syllable. And if there's not another consonant already there to keep that vowel short. So there's a lot of skills that the child has to already have, and you definitely need to, when you're spelling these, it can get tricky. You definitely need to do a lot of explicit teaching and, practice with the child. I just taught this to a couple of my kids that I tutor, and I took a couple of days teaching it. Actually, I think I took 3 days because I did part 1 and then I did part 2, and then we needed a 3rd day just to practice spelling. The reading part is not so hard when you're teaching this, by the time you teach this to your kids, but the spelling part can be really tricky. So we spent a lot of time on the spelling part. Definitely can teach this concept earlier in the sequence. Just make sure that those, like I said before, that the kids have experience with open and closed vowels. Or maybe you want to just pick certain words on that sheet to work on. You don't have to do the whole, all of the words on there. You can go through and select which ones you want to focus. So maybe you want to just focus on the ones that don't have the doubling in there. Yeah. Handle and candle, so that they can, they just have to work. They just have to focus on the consonant LE. You can do it in steps like that, so that it's, so you're just layering each additional skill onto.